on something, I forget what it was, but she was just sitting there and I don't know, you were just sitting. And I felt like really annoyed. And I'm like, hey, here, do something. And I wrote a little tiny script on a piece of paper and I said, hey, illustrate this. And then she did it literally in like half an hour. And it was really funny. It was like horrible, but it was like, it was the kind of show that I laugh at, like the Bad Art Collection kind of stuff. Stuff that just is really quick, not overly thought out, but the joke is there, and there's just enough artwork, almost like Adult Swim stuff, where it's like hideous, but it's funny. And from that point on, I'm like, I want to see more of this stuff, and she just would be illustrating these things and running in like 10 seconds. Sad. Was it X-Files?
Or like,
what was it?
Oh, 100 Days.
The little song. Yeah. Did you like the movie? I just saw the movie. Like, did you read the book and then see the movie?
Yes, but you have to read the book first.
You don't have to.
I don't agree.
You should never have to read the book. The movie should stand on its own. It's like the Harry Potter movie.
like that shitty definition.
It was, well, no, I don't think, I think they did a really good job of telling the overall story of the book.
But if you have to appreciate it
so
more.
much humanity.
No, she hasn't even read the book.
They turn on you so fast.
No, like, I actually thought that the movie was like, yeah, that's the book, essentially. I'm like, I've never read the Harry Potter books. I don't know shit. But I like watching, I like movies. I just like movies, and I go see those, and I'm like, God, that just seemed like a mess. It was just like there was no focus, and then at the end, like Dumbledore gets shot in the face, and I'm like, why don't they give a shit? Like he's dead, and Harry's like, oh, who am I going to go to dance with? I'm like, what do they care? Like they cut out the section of the book, where it's like, I'm like, I don't care about the book. The movie should be a good movie. Why am I doing that? Sorry. So Jellyfist happened because she was sick. So no, it's never us going, let's think of something. It's always us laughing and then going, oh, that could be a thing.
Okay, because that's based upon like report then. So then how did you two kids meet then? If this is something that came about hanging out at the house?
Through a mutual friend. My friend was
a million years ago.
Crab scrambling. They were friends. And then he's like, hi, this is my friend Jenny. And I'm like, hey Jenny, let's be friends. And then we got we like teamed up and clotheslined him. He was on the ground and I pushed him over her.
Wiping 3 girls?
Yeah. Just lit him on fire and said,
so, in talking about collaborations, gotta talk about Invader Zim, because there's nothing more collaborative than television, for better or worse, I would imagine. And so, like, I imagine the writers seemed like they had a really good time doing all this horribly twisted shit in the kids' cartoon.
Yeah, the writers, I think, had the best time in general. Like, I kept them, we tried keeping them completely removed from any of the, like, politics and any of the, like, fighting for jokes or anything like that. Like, that was me. Like, they would just get to make stuff up. I would just get to, like, that was my favorite thing. I loved just writing, because that was just me sitting in a room and just laughing my face off. And then then there's the process of arguing for what should stay in the script.
Okay, so like my benchmark for darkness in television, specifically children's programming, is Dark Harvest.
Yeah.
Wherein the protagonist of the show steals organs from school children. Replaces them with just stuff.
See, but that's people say, when people talk about what they think is dark, it's well, but it's wrong. Yeah, for me it's just funny. I'm not writing stuff, but I'm so dumb. I'm like, I think it's stupid. This is so stupid.
Numerous times, though.
In the bathroom. But see, Dark Harvest, it would be dark if he stole shit and didn't put shit back in. Like, I would be way more comfortable if I had like clocks and radios in me instead of like meat and organs.
So I was wondering, like, if they let that fly, which I imagine probably wasn't the easiest thing in the world.
You know, I don't actually remember there being a lot of trouble with that one, or much of anything until after the grandfather. That's when things got really.
Like how the.
Well, you know, we almost got figured out. Like Zen was very much about violence and explosions and you know, after like and then that's when they got way more like extreme. Dark Harvest, I don't remember fighting so much at all. Yeah, mostly it was explosions, more so than flying. Like the one where she falls off the roof and explodes. Which to me is funny.
So they're like, we need the context for why this kid blows up, or you can't do it.
Yeah.
He can't be dead. He can never be dead. So we have to like throw in some line of like, I'm okay even though I've exploded. Let me know he's okay even though he exploded, which he wouldn't be.
Okay, so the only notes you ever really got were about explosions. About like you never really had to fight for anything too hardcore then.
No, you know, people think that we like had a really rough time getting things through, but we got a lot of stuff through. Like we weren't trying to push anything. We were just doing what we thought was funny, which is usually kids exploding. You know, it wasn't the worst experience in the world, but I'm like super jealous when I talk to friends who have shows now, like my friend Penn does Adventure Time. And I watched some of those episodes. We can never do that. We can never do.
Yeah, but the censors also pick out some of the most bizarre things to focus on to get rid of.
I know, but like you can.
You get to say you get to say that means your show was ahead of its time. Then you get to have that.
You were using the trail.
No. My show I think came around at a time when things were becoming way more conservative. Like Ren and Stimpy.
I think it's getting more conservative.
Yeah, and then give birth to a fart baby.
Yeah. we could never do. We couldn't have Satan. We couldn't have like hell. You couldn't call it hell. You couldn't say shut up. You couldn't do a bunch of things that are just inherent to comedy. You know, Satan and shutting up. Like, I remember like an episode.
The mention of pure dookie was okay.
Boobies and shit are funny. Like, but you can't do like Satan and punching.
Well, but like, you know,
or punching Satan. Like, remember there was an episode of Animaniacs where they go to hell because like someone eats like too many Swedish meatballs, and they go to hell and they meet the devil and he's like, literally, one of his lines is like, I am Satan. You know, we couldn't call hell. We had to call it the place beneath the overworld. Which I think is funny, but it's a lot longer to say.
in regards to like Dookie and stuff, when I was working on Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, like we had these super...
She worked on Secret Mountain Fort Awesome.
But it's like maybe 5 people have seen. But like we had super weird rules, like, you know, if you're going to put poop in it, you can't have it come to a point because it looks like it was excreted by something. So you need to round off the top of all the Dookie. We also had to go through and
nipples.
We had to fix all the nipples on the characters because at one point they were kind of like coming out of the biceps of the characters, and they were like, those look way too much like boobies. So we had to go through and
because they are.
Because they're boobies. So we had to go through and put the nipples inside of the boobies instead of pointing out of the boobies.
What would they have done if you had made them like look like dookies?
It looked like somebody excreted on somebody's boobies.
That's a different show altogether.
Way too many. No. It wouldn't have flown.
Oh, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, amazing rules and fixes.
Just weird stuff. I don't know. You can't really. And
They fix it.
and it seems utterly personal too, like dependent on who is doing the censoring.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Like you had that one guy that you're like, oh, this guy is going to give us problems. It's like,
Oh, there's always someone out for you, for sure. Like just wanting to poke it, just to make their change. They make them feel like they made a difference on whatever you're working on. Like, I put my mark on it.
I took them. I shaved them nipples down.
Yeah. About all the dookies.
And whoever that is, you imagine them going home and being like, yep, I I did it. A job well done.
Honey, this kid is trying to get dookies in the cartoons, and I was like, no, not much.
They're doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
Because kids are really going to be upset by that kind of stuff.
It is true that we're corner, though. We talk about stuff like Adventure Time and some other shows that, like, yeah, they're not on Saturday mornings by any stretch of the imagination, but even, like, I don't really give half a crap at any sort of, holding back and like that. But I watch Adventure Time and I'm like, this shit's okay? Like, I mean, compared to some of the stuff that, you hear the horror tale about people working on television, kids TV especially, and, now the world is kind of coming off a little bit, which I think is fun. It's definitely better than the alternative, railing off dookies. What are you guys working on next? What's coming up? You guys are talking about animation projects?
Jenny was dealing with some people at, some executives from various animation studios, and she was working at Cartoon Network, and they were asking her for ideas. And at one point, anytime she starts trying to come up with ideas for, I think more like narrative-wise, and I think she's much more visual than I am. So when she was being asked to come up with ideas, and you meet executives and they're like, hey, you have any ideas for shows? Because they're like always desperate for ideas. Yeah. Especially right now, for some reason. It seems like they're just completely out of shows.
Well, there's like a total just dip in terms of just what's running on the networks right now. And everybody wants their Adventure Time. Everybody wants to make their Adventure Time right now. That's the goal.
Yeah.
You can go into execs and they're like, just give us Adventure Time. Just make another Adventure Time.
It's funny because Nickelodeon had Adventure Time.
Yeah, and then
they passed it on, and then Cartoon Network took it.
Yes.
Which I think it makes way more sense on Cartoon Network than
it's like Disney passed it on.
Yeah, they'll put it out they'll put it out at night, in the evening time.
I can't think of anything that's like that on Nickelodeon right now. Like Nickelodeon seems much more like
what country and the animated series isn't like that?
No, it's not. But she'll ask, what should I do? Well, trying to come up with ideas for things, and then that starts me just bullshitting for
firing off.
Yeah, how about movie similar? How about I show about a cup?
Forget for ramen. You're like, what about I show about ramen?
That's how so we're kind of putting together a thing, a pitch for I don't even know where. We're just coming up with an idea. I don't really do pitches. I stopped doing pitches for anything anymore. I can't stand it. I can't stand that stuff. You go in to meet someone and they give you a bottle of water and you're like, how about this show where this happens? And they're like, oh, that's very interesting. And you're like, you don't think so. And you flip the table. You're like, you don't understand, man. And I was like, I hate those meetings. I can't stand them. The stuff that I think is really funny. It's hard to I'm telling
you there to hold the table down.
Yeah. People who know me, if I'm talking about something, they can see how I would do it. Usually these are meetings with people I don't know. They don't know why what I would do would be different than someone else would do, and I just get irritated in meetings.
So what's the worst pitch meeting you've ever had?
No, I see different. I have good pitch meetings, but halfway through I just feel like. They're receptive, and they're like, oh, I've even had situations where they'll still be like, oh, you want me to set up another meeting for you, I want you to meet so-and-so.
And that's when you flip the table over.
Yeah, that's when I'm like, you know what, to hell with this. And I literally have not gone to second meeting because I'm thinking, it's not going to be, they're not, as much as they say they like it, they're not going to get it. And so that's why I like the idea of working with someone else who goes into these things and just isn't.
You can be the second meeting person.
Yeah.
No, I'm both meetings.
See, I want to do my own thing, but in terms of the thing that we're coming up with is something more along the lines of a kids show. But I love it because I can come up with things that I don't even think I would ever want to stick around and work on. But I love stuff like Adventure Time. I love kids cartoons. I love all sorts of stuff. I just can't see myself staying and working on them because I think, oh my God, now this is my life. And I want to be doing my own thing. You really have to pick the kind of thing that you want to be in hell for. Because you'll be in hell, no matter what.
And it has to be worth it.
I'd rather do something that's way more like adult.
He just wants to work from home.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. You don't want to go to work.
So coming up with an idea with someone else or for someone else, like here's an idea, you know, you can go work on it, and I just stay home and go, it's a good show.
You're just sitting there eating your cereal,
yeah, I'm watching it, and then I'll
Next Generation.
like, it's starting to suck. Fix it. You know? So literally, we went to go get some like ramen in. We went to our favorite ramen restaurant, and I was sitting there staring at the
I love that you
chef.
have a favorite ramen restaurant.
Oh, hell
Yes. Are you kidding?
That's awesome.
There are variations of quality in ramen. You
Best
gotta be
place in the
careful.
world. It's the best.
Yeah.
And this was after me just constantly throwing out ideas as a joke because I know it starts irritating her. She's like, no, that's stupid. And I was watching the ramen chef, and I thought, how about a show where a little girl has to make ramen? That's not the idea for the show, but that's how it's always start talking about the show. Although that would be an awesome show. I don't know why you're laughing. The first idea was, because I knew I wanted it to be a little girl, because if she's working on it, I'd rather it be like a little girl, because she's like the least typical like female person in the world, and I'm sick of
Pretty broy.
I'm sick of most like female. I think we're both like just disgusted with most like female characters in everything.
Ladies in cartoons.
They just get the shaft. They never get to be the funny
They
ones.
always have to be super girly.
Horrible. I just hate women in general. Never funny, you know? Anyhow, yes, except for her.
No, I'm also not funny, so.
But the first idea was, you know, I made a joke, and then I started thinking, hey, wait, what about a show where there's like a little girl who, for whatever reason, has to like save Earth, like aliens are invading Earth, and this little girl.
But she's not a hero or anything. She's just a regular.
For whatever reason, she has to be the one who has to prove. She's like, hey, what if I can show you that Earth's worth saving? I can show you that the Earth's got some redeeming qualities.
I think the example that you gave was, aliens who were going to maybe destroy the planet because they wanted to build some kind of superhighway or something to.
I don't know. Very Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah. Anyway, so they come down to her and they're like, if you don't find us the most delicious donut on Earth, then
No, you're wrong. That's where the ramen came from. The aliens, for whatever reason, they pick her. For whatever reason, they pick her. They're like, hey, we're going to blow up your planet, but if you can show us, like, some cool stuff, we'll spare you. But you have to show each and every one of us, everyone from their planet, a good time. So one by one, these aliens would come down, and so she would have to show them a good time. So one, group of aliens she would take to, like, an amusement park, and another one, they're like, we want to try your suits. Make us your planet, but she always had to do it. And eventually we thought, that's too similar to, we want to deal with aliens all the time. That's too specific an idea. But it expanded into the idea of a little girl who has to basically solve or deal with issues that people think are incredibly serious, not just on Earth, but intergalactic. For whatever reason, this little girl has to be the deciding factor in incredibly important decisions. A huge responsibility, and that I thought was really funny because that makes sense to. It wasn't as limiting as just showing aliens a good time for an entire series, because that would only be amazing, but not really amazing. And then from that point on, by the drive home, I had come up with an entire season's worth of ideas for episodes, and it's sort of become more of an actual thing.
Back and forth in the car and stuff and joking.
Yes. And so now we're just kind of at this point where we're just coming up with artwork and kind of coming up with more ideas and just gags and stuff. But it's the kind of thing that I just love doing. I just love it. As soon as something goes, wait, I can actually see that becoming a thing, it becomes an actual, I see it. I'm done with it almost already. You know what I mean? I'm bored of this show, but I want people to see it.
Now, the process only takes, 2 years to get off the ground sometimes?
Yeah, Jhonen just shits out ideas. It's kind of freakish. It annoys everybody around him because he doesn't do anything with the ideas. Just hold on.
Well, so much you can do from at home eating
time doing stuff while eating cereal.
So, yeah.
I'm just caught up with little girl solving a little problem. Pretty precious.
No, God, no.
I just remember these great big eyes, just, you know, full of wonder
She's
and terror.
kind of boyish, I think. She's just
Yeah.
kind of awkward and boyish, and she's a weirdo. You know, but she's not like, she doesn't know she's a weirdo. She's just a kid. She likes interesting things, and she likes soup.
Everyone amongst us doesn't like soup.
A unifying, thing.
So, that is coming possibly.
We don't know. It's, we're, like, seriously, we're just sitting around just kind of joking around about it, and until it, I like starting stuff off and having it just be fun. I don't like thinking of, I don't come up with things for, like, some end product. Like, it has to be funny for me to just be joking around.
Well,
it has to be a thing that, like, Zim, Johnny, all of that stuff, that's not me going, how am I going to, like, will people like this? I honestly, I don't give a shit.
Well, I say it for you.
But you have to have people like your stuff if you want to continue making stuff. I'm not one of the people that thinks in terms of like, will they like this? Are they gonna? Is this going to make people happy?
No, because you'll tell people how amazing you are all the time. So
Yes.
yeah. So just immediately, it's amazing.
It's not true.
Johnny's actually even more so than Zim. Johnny and like the comic strip show up on Jenny's blog, which is a Punch blog, by the way, which is delightful. They seem to have a kind of talking about going not directing at a person. There's a whole lot of sort of this wild sort of stream of consciousness type feel to a lot of that stuff. That sort of seems like it's just going to go, almost unscripted. That's why those little short one-page scripts, you kind of fly out and they go on, and there's not a whole lot of form or reason to them, kind of like that.
But that's how she and I talk. Yeah, there's no point.
It's a very similar stuff. Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's just us talking.
Yeah, because if I start overthinking things, they just turn horribly. So I need to just like do it. Just do it. Bam.
Do it. Kill me now. It's when he's trying to lure him into the trap with the stone.
He's covered in mud.
I just want to make sure. Yes, he's covered in mud. What do you think of predators?
I
horrible.
like Predators.
It's a horrible fucking movie.
I think when you have a Predator movie and it's boring, that's a pretty bad.
How you messed that up?
I'm not the bitch about movie guy. Like, I like the Transformers movies because they blow shit up and they're stupid fun. But I
Get out of this. I can totally, I can see that. I would pay $5 for 20 minutes of Transformers. I would pay just to see the effects
That last 20
and the
minutes
fights,
of bullshit, right.
and then I'd be like, 20 minutes of my life, not bad. Sitting through like, they're like 4 or 5 hours of humans and things you just don't care about.
You don't care. You're waiting for the robots to come up.
That's
You're
what
watching-
you can't even read what their faces are
You
doing.
can't see
because they're
things.
so
It's just
murky with-
You know what I've been watching? Because it was on Netflix. I've been watching Transformers Prime.
I watched a lot of that on the way up here. It's pretty cool.
That is
cool.
so much better than those movies.
It really is.
And it's still, it's a kid's show. There's no, it's not like mind-blowing, but it's so much more readable as a story, as characters, as things.
It
that you're
is
like,
better.
no, I can actually tell what's happening.
I've caught shit for years for not hating on the Transformers movies. So that when Predators came out, they're all like,
Rightfully so, too.
I've heard. And so when Predators came out, they're like, so what'd you think of Predators? They've all got their gloves up, like, we're gonna tear this asshole apart. And I'm like, it was not good. They were all really disappointed that I didn't like it. They're like, oh!
Because you're the guy that like
now we
that
can
likes
make money.
hateful things.
Yeah, but then they're like, yeah, Predators gotta be it. This guy doesn't like it,
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I think it was bad in a completely different way than Transformers. I can see people liking it. I hate Transformers, but like it's noisy and it's messy.
We went to the
Transformers is
theater.
just boring.
I had to go to the bathroom, and I left, I came back, and apparently I missed the one scene with the cool shit happens, where they went to the camp, and like, the guy throws the robot bird out, and all the cool stuff happens, and the guy...
I hate them hunting with robot birds. They're predators!
And they're
predators!
They made a
They're
bird trap,
supposed to
and they
hunt
train
you.
them.
They're like supposed to be the the galaxy's greatest hunters, and they're like, go find me something, bird.
But I come back like,
It's like they're just sitting there, and the bird comes back. It's like, I found something. The predator's like, all right, let's go kill him.
they booby trap somebody. I think with Danny Trejo, they turned into like.
No, I think that just in real life, Danny Trejo is a booby trap.
Ah.
What about AVP2?
For daily? Why?
But that's kind of cool, though.
It was stupid.
I mean, look at it. You're trying to alienize the predator. You know. Oh. Boom. Come on. He's gonna have a robot bird. That would have done.
That's what would have made it dumb.
Exactly. I don't know that on that one actually. Whatever. So yes, whacked out stream of consciousness, creating this like a wobbly-headed bomb comes from no place.
See, but I don't think of it as craziness. Like that's just conversational to me. Like I like writing up the I Feel Sick stuff because it's just conversation for the most part. Like by that point, I think that I was way more comfortable with like just writing people as opposed to like I can read I Feel Sick and it bugs me. But it's closer to how I write now, rather than like going back and reading John. And like, who talks like that? It's like
you're a crazy person. So maybe that,
yeah, crazy, but annoying.
Okay, so talk about I Feel Sick and those type of spawn out of the meanwhiles that came out of the Johnny books as well. So I've always kind of wondered how the leap from Johnny to Invader Zim happened, because like at what point did a Nickelodeon guy read the awesome punchline, someone put shit in my pants? This guy was making a kid's cartoon.
Well, we already established that kids love Dookie.
Well, this is our guy. This is our guy. This the shit pants.
I think they were going more off of Squee than Johnny for like when they came to me, for example.
Okay, so they came to you. That wasn't something that you pitched around.
Oh god, no, I didn't. They called me up, and I was just like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I love, at that point, Nickelodeon to me was like Ren and Stimpy, that kind of thing. So
No, it's all live action shows, and they're all kind of terrible.
I don't watch it.
I would put it all the time in choice, and it's not very good.
Like I didn't watch it when Zim was there. I had a show with it, but it seems different. It doesn't seem like that. I think they want to change that. I think right now, I think their big thing is what, Korra? Is that all they have now?
Yeah, the Avatar sequel.
And they've got other shows like that. Just seem much younger, like Fanboy and Chum and
Fanboy and Chum.
Oh,
I think. Because one of those names is better than the other one, apparently.
yeah.
So.
Stuff that I don't really get like a big read off of, but like.
Plus, that stuff is super spastic. Like, watching it is like just.
Yeah,
I don't know, something about Fanboy and Chum. No.
Yeah, the cat talking to his boogers was okay, but Fanboy and Chum.
Fanboy and Chum, no, it's their actions and like the movements and the backgrounds are so full of information. Everything is so full of information and like moving all the time. It is like having a series of seizures, one after another, watching that show for me. It's just like.
But kids love Dookie and seizures.
Or seizures induced by Dookie.
Or Dookie-induced seizures.
Or seizure-induced Dookie.
Which makes much more sense because they're like, and just.
Eat the walls now. You
wouldn't get actually enough coverage. You would have to like blast it, and then you'd have to like. We have like 10 minutes to do this.
So yeah, there is that. Okay, make that happen. So someone needs a seizure.
Any apple.
Yeah. Pokemon on the screen.
Strobing rave in here for a few minutes. Constant seizures.
Right now.
Right now the dubstep is sweet.
Never get
I know, but I want to update the rave.
Terrible. So, okay, so they came to you with the idea for that. Did they make a show for it? Want you to make a show for it?
They asked if I had any ideas, and I came up with some.
Okay.
No ideas ever.
I wasn't there. I don't know. I was asking.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there.
Oh, but you were.
So that happens. And this is one of those things where it survives so much longer after the initial run.
Yep.
Like with the DVDs and the Netflix, and they're still making stuff for that show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So much stuff. Like stuff you would. I saw some Gearhead earbuds the other day.
Earbuds?
Like earbuds. Like
You want to stick little girl heads in your ear?
yes. Exactly.
I don't keep track of any of that stuff. I don't have any of it. I just people come up for signings and they've got like Gur wigs or whatever. I'm just like
Gur chastity belts.
Wow.
no, I think if you're wearing Gur stuff, it's kind of a chastity belt. You're not having sex.
So is that kind of stuff, you see that kind of stuff and you're like, oh God, really? Or is it kind of like, oh, that's neat, right on, bury your butt, why the hell not?
I don't, it's neat, and I don't care. It's like, it's not like, I don't care. It's like, it's kind of removed from it, you know what I mean? Like, that's not my life. But it's neat to see, like, people come up and they're like, oh, you must hate what Nickelodeon's doing to your thing. And I'm like, I don't know, it's like,
What's happening?
they wouldn't be doing it if people didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, there are fans, and so, of course, they're going to make stuff for the fans. So when I see it, it's, like you say, it's been forever. So it's cool to see that people still
It occurred
care.
the other day, it's been like 10 years. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a good long while. So you have the Zen stuff keeps going on. Slave Labor is constantly reprinting Johnny books, the Sweet books, whatever. So like
I don't even know what printing they're on for the Johnny stuff.
they're doing the single issues too, not just the trade. They're constantly reprinting stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got like some real longevity in these properties, these finite properties, which is kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So when's the next one coming out?
The next Johnny thing?
The next, or anything like that. Like what do you got put up comics wise? That's sort of.
I haven't been working on
You
comics.
did the French cover.
Yeah, but that's not my own stuff. I just
You
wrote
wrote
some
the
fringe comics for DC.
But the Jellyfish stuff kind of counts too.
Am I selling that? I'm just some fringe comics for DC. You wouldn't like it.
Jellyfish stuff is cool. Like is there more of that stuff kind of coming up? I mean.
I've been focusing on animation stuff, actually. I've been doing some stuff with Titmouse Animation. You guys that animate like Metal Octopus.
What's that?
Sounds wrong. Venture Brothers and all that stuff.
That's cool though. But I think with animation, maybe even the kind of your brand of stuff, like there's a lot more outlets for that. Like Cartoon Network, we talked about, we're getting kind of edgy with the Adventure Time stuff, but then there's, they'll put anything on those.
Oh, but I'm not like aiming for television stuff. Like I want to be able to like gather just enough money to make something on my own terms, which is kind of everyone's dream. But like I don't think I'm a good fit for television. Even if like something looks like it's going, like I say, I always end up walking away from these things thinking I want to do something that maybe
never
has
unpack
way
your
more.
desk. Just never unpack the desk. Keep everything ready to go.
And just something that has maybe a more limited appeal to, I want to do something that makes me happy enough to go, yeah, I only lived for so long, but those 5 years I spent on something were way more worth it than this other thing that, I was like, why am I fighting for like a joke on a kid's show? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not how I want to spend my life. There are people who just pitching
That's
shows.
how I'm going to be spending my life.
No.
If we get that show.
No. But no, I have no problem getting you into that situation. I just personally don't want that to be my existence. Like, I want to kind of do things. The way I do my comics, just by myself, and kind of dictate the terms on which these things are put out there. So animation is much more expensive and much more time,
But everyone and their mother has a Kickstarter campaign these days.
So
What you're thinking.
I'm thinking of, I've been thinking of doing a Kickstarter for like 10 minutes of animation as kind of a prologue to something that's much bigger that we then used, you would use those 10 minutes as kind of a proof of concept to raise real money. I mean, these things cost like millions of dollars, but hopefully that is something that works out because I would love to do it. Like, I'd love to do animation stuff, but I don't want to do it for, I don't want to do a kids show, even though I love some of the things that can be done with, network TV and all that sort of thing. It's just, there are people who are made out for that sort of existence better than I am.
The one you used
Oh,
Kickstarter money for.
Oh, it's just about a guy digging under his house. It's related to a more popular thing of mine, but it's and then it would just be 10 minutes of a guy digging under his house. And who doesn't love that? Who hasn't done things under their house? Who doesn't have a house? Hobos. Yeah.
Is there any, have you ever thought about, are there any interest in taking some of the Johnny stuff or the sweet stuff and animating that? Like, is that something you've been
That's
thought
kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so like directly, like for making a project based out of that?
I can't talk about it, like in extreme detail.
Tell them about it, like-
you do.
These are the people that'll raise money for the Kickstarter, so you know.
They wouldn't. You guys really like
Shut up and take our money!
it would be related to the Johnny stuff. Like, kind of directly related, but it's not Johnny. It's just about a guy digging under his house. It's not Johnny digging under his house.
But the future project that would spawn off of that.
Yeah, yeah. When I did Johnny, I didn't really have a story. I don't know if you can tell. Until the very end, things started kind of going, oh, you know, this kind of makes sense, and I see what this can be. By the time Johnny ended, I had an entire second series in my head. Like, I've lived with this story in my head forever, and it's really cool, and I figured, well, it's in my head, I don't need to show people. I don't know if you've seen it. It doesn't exist. There's this scene where Johnny's in the basement, and there's a ring at the doorbell, and then Debbie opens the door, and like you would be like, oh my God, it's him at the door. That part was awesome. But the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter would be related to the Johnny story, and it's another thing that I've had in my head forever and ever and ever. But it's not the character.
Fair
You know what I
enough.
mean? It's like he before Darth Vader, and there's lots of politics. And
Those movies suck,
yes.
though. No one likes those movies.
Yes.
Those are not
You don't like those when you like Transformers?
I don't like those. I got that going on. What about that? I have a 4-year-old, and she's way into Yoda all of a sudden, and someone told me like, hey, but episode 2 has lots of Yoda, and I'm like, yeah, but it sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible movies. If anyone here likes them, you should feel terrible. But yeah, I don't know. At some point in the near future, my friend / producer guy has just been like pushing me to like just get this Kickstarter thing going. If that's the way we're gonna go. But I don't know. Hopefully, you'll know more about it. Apparently, though, like you have to like make a video pitch for Kickstarter stuff, and I don't want to be able to do that.
You can do that on a cell phone, man.
Jonathan would do
You
it.
can be there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like hopefully, in the near future, there'll be more to talk about. But right now, it's just kind of like coming someday kind of stuff.
Possibly, maybe.
What time is it?
Just stick that on Kickstarter.
It is about, we got about 20 minutes left. So we're going to talk more if you would like.
I don't really have anything to talk about.
Well, pancakes.
We were going to talk about our power in the world with slave labor thing. But
That's your thing.
well, maybe
It's not the first time.
we might have a Kickstarter. We can do a Kickstarter for that.
To set up an under.
We've been trying to figure out like solve
powered by
like
training.
the problems with like the homeless population or ex colonies and stuff like that, and using them as like power
This
sources.
isn't my idea, by the way.
But it's sound.
You're
It's
carried down
sound.
that way.
Do people have questions? This is the part, like, please have good questions. I just did a convention in Seattle, and there were we let too many people ask too many questions, and it went really badly. It was entertaining, but it was like literally they would come up and they were asking where did you get your ideas? And if you've ever asked that of anyone, just feel bad. It's the hardest question to answer.
Because the answer is everywhere.
Yeah, it's like I get my
all the
ideas
time.
from like the way my brain processes information in my place in the universe, and then you write about it. And
But
then
where do you get your ideas from, man?
yeah.
Yeah.
See, and so then we kind of like Penn. I did a panel with Penn at Adventure Time, and they came up and they asked us where you get your ideas. We were both Penn and I were just like, I don't really know. It was an awkward kind of thing.
You left your panel, went back to your room, took a soap shower.
I don't know what you said.
Oh, come on! The soap shower. You know,
literally, a person like two questions after came up and asked the same question, and we were like, oh, like we didn't. They weren't joking either. They were just, I think they were nervous and they like didn't hear the first.
They just didn't hear.
3 people asked that at the panel, and by that point we were just like throwing water at it. They were like, it was incredibly awkward. So please don't ask. Don't ask it as a joke either, because that's been done too. So yeah, let's maybe have some people.
Maybe go to the microphone.
Yes, if you can step up to the microphone, fashionably.
All right.
Oh, really?
They don't have, oh, we can hear
Not
you.
anymore.
You don't have sound on the mic.
It's fine. I can yell loudly.
Can people hear?
So we've heard lots about films that you don't like.
Yes.
What are some films that you do?
But I just said I like the Hunger Games. I like some of the Harry Potter. I like the Harry
She
Potter.
said that too. She's like, you said Hunger Games again. She was
I just, I really couldn't stand the way that they shot the action. It was unintelligent.
The action part of Follow the
It's a movie about someone who's going through something terrible, and when they show the terrible things, they completely like cut the bolts off. You can't experience any of it. You know? A friend of mine recently said that they were hoping that the only person that they want to see direct the second movie is Alfonso Cuarón. Because you can imagine like a Children of Men type approach to the action in that, and that's not even an action movie.
Watch
But when that
Battle
shit is
Royale.
going down, the last 10 minutes of that movie, they're just like, oh my god, and he's just running from here to there. The Hunger Games as a movie, like, you don't get a sense of anything. Big moments are completely obscured, and that just, I don't go to things because I want to see violence. I just want to see things handled well, and that I don't think that was handled well. So your question was movies that I do like. I did like The Hunger Games. Movies that I
Loved forever.
I didn't love it, but I really had a good time at John Carter.
Yeah.
Right? Like the music reminded me of like old school, just like Lawrence of Arabia, kind of just like I love the music. For a good duration of the movie, I was like, oh, this is neat. Oh, that's kind of weird. But by the end of the movie, you ever see adaptation where they, it's like just finish big, just make them feel something at the end. By the end of John Carter, I don't know if anyone saw. No one saw John Carter. By the end of John Carter, it did that thing for me. Like going into the movie, I remember saying, all I want is to feel anything at all, because I feel nothing in general. So I go to movies and I'm like, I want something to make me feel like a person. So by the end of John Carter, where it's kind of like I'm going back to Mars, and it's like the music swells, and I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. If I envy a character, if I'm like, I want to be that guy, and I want to fly that fucking spaceship, or I want to go through that Stargate, and I want to feel like this is a big, awesome, big escapist thing. And that's what it did. It made me feel, I felt happy by the end of that movie. And I'm really sad that it did so poorly, because it was a neat movie. I thought it was really neat. But it's none of your fault, so it's okay. Question?
First question, I have two. The first one's really quick. Joey's hair is blue, right?
I used to have it that it grew out blue and dyed it black, yeah.
Okay. Sure. Second question, how do you feel about, obviously, people who dress up as your characters or that, make videos?
I think they should be publicly executed. No, I don't know. It's neat. It's,
You have a sweet and you have a Debbie.
I don't usually like when people dress up as Zim because they look like Hulks. Because it's always like a dark green. It's like a dark green,
Yeah.
and it's kind of gross. And he's not dark green, so.
And how do you feel about people that
This is 3 questions. You've gone too far. Seriously, let other people ask questions. Let other people ask questions. I'm sorry.
Oh.
He has a question. You have to be loyal to be next to someone else. Yes.
I'm using that.
Someone's always going to get hurt. It was her.
Hi. So I feel sick. Did you always plan on doing something with Debbie after the Johnny series, or did
No.
it just kind of happen?
No. By that point, I had just been writing her for a little bit, and then decided these are really fun to write. Like, I still write I Feel Sick stuff. I write just little scripts. Because I love the back and forth between she and Tana. Like, that's fun for me to write. I tend to like writing back and forth, conversational things, and she's like the character for that. Johnny didn't have as many people to talk to. Essentially, he's talking to himself. Every character in Johnny is just coming from his head, you know? And Debbie and Tana were just a nice kind of goofy character, irritated character kind of back and forth. I like Zim a little bit, although Zim doesn't really converse much with Gur. You can't converse with Gur.
Dance with us.
But, no, I didn't plan it. It just kind of happened. Thank you.
If you had Johnny Volume 2 already in your head,
Yeah.
can you please just give it to us? Because
I'll see what I can do. It might not be in book form. I'm prematurely elderly.
I just wanted to say I love the Strange Tales work you did
Oh,
with
thank you.
Marvel, like the MODOK me, and then the Wolverine one. It escapes me right now.
The
But
MODOK is funny.
I did love it. I really did. And I'm just wondering if Marvel ever gave you the green light, would you be willing to do like a whole issue or a whole 2-3 issues? Of that kind of
Like,
stuff?
right now, thinking of that, I don't know. I mean, if it came up,
Right.
then my brain might go, oh, I don't have any ideas for it, though. Like, I don't have any more MODOK or Wolverine stuff.
Right.
But if it felt right, if something came up and I thought that's really funny, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was wondering if you'd ever...
Oh, yes. Shaking hand. He can shake your hand. Hello.
Have you ever thought about pitching game ideas for video games?
I would love to, but it's never going to happen. Actually, I would love to do video games. Like that's all I do. It's all I get so much inspiration from video games, and I can play Alan Wake 24/7 and just be like, this is so cool. Like on the flight here, I was playing Max Payne on my iPad because I love Remedy. I love the games that they do, and just I envy games creators. You know, I don't think it's ever going to work out because I try and it goes usually terribly wrong.
I don't know, you just pitch something I did here.
It would be,
But maybe like indie. Somebody that wouldn't try to.
anything. It's just I've got ideas and I've got all kinds of dweebs, but I don't know.
We can only hope.
You have a lot of hats.
Yes, I do. So many hats.
I only have two.
Since I'm so close, but anyway, I'll just start with one and go to the back of the line. First of all, I've noticed if there's at least one common theme across Johnny and Zim and all that.
It's love.
That's not the one I was talking about. I was going to ask, what's with all the moose?
Are there all moose? I can only think of Ruben the Moose, the Minnie Moose, and then the moose in Johnny's wall. I don't think there's a lot of moose. It's three.
Holy moose.
I think it's just
a lot
the
of
sound.
moose.
You know what it is? People ask that about pigs all the time too. And for me, it's just the sound of the word. I like the word. If you were to go to my house and try to go to the donuts, you wouldn't see pig stuff all over my house. It's like I'd be like, why is there all this pig stuff in my house? Yeah. But it's just certain words are funny to say, and certain visuals in my head, like pig visuals, are funny. But in general, I don't think we talk about moose or pigs. Sometimes pigs, maybe. But
Lots of nonsensical words, though.
yeah, a lot of just boof. But, you know, like, how you doing? Boof, which makes sense to us. But yeah, no, I don't. There's no reason other than moose.
First things first, I absolutely agree with you on the last 10 minutes of Children of Men. It's jarring. When people walk out with a gun down by the tank, my jaw just dropped. And they didn't exploit it.
The stuff, it happens like naturally. It just happens. I don't like going to a movie and having something go, look at how amazing this action is. Like, if I were to punch someone, it'd be jarring if I just went, I was talking to him, boom! He's like, what the hell? But it's like, it's like, yeah, that's good looking. Like every, Watchmen or 300, like, yes, it's very pretty. But you have robbed me of giving me any shit. Like the Matrix is like, look how cool. At least that makes sense because they're manipulating reality. You know what I mean? Even if I don't care. But I just saw The Raid. That was amazing. It was stupid as hell. But like, the action is ridiculous, it's fast, and it's just fast. So like, Children of Men, that ending is like, it's not glorified. I mean, The Raid is glorified. Children of Men is just like, when that guy's like running at them with the gun, and he like pokes his head out the door, and they just hit him in the face with a car battery. You're like, oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, it's purely stressful.
When do things ever make you feel anything, you know? Like, that made me feel my face getting hit with a car battery.
My question, I was late to the panel, so I apologize if you already talked about this. I had heard that you had kind of parted on poor terms with Nickelodeon, and you weren't always eye to eye. And then you talked about...
Where did you hear that?
It was commonly talked about at the place I worked at, read magazines, the show had ended prematurely, and the rights weren't agreed upon, so on and so forth.
Let me just tell you, almost everything that you've ever read about me or like the show is probably wrong or made up, which I have helped with.
Right. You talked about wanting to do animation where you were on your own terms and you could experiment with that. The only other person who I'd ever heard of having that big problem with Nickelodeon was John Kricfalusi. As far as Ren and Stimpy and what he does with animation now, would you ever consider working with someone like him?
I think that he's way too specific in what he does. I think it'd be like personality, and like I would rather see him doing his thing. Like I would enjoy watching John Tate do whatever he wants to do, and I would enjoy me doing whatever I want to do.
And that new Ren and Stimpy stuff is weird.
I wasn't a big fan of the new Ren and Stimpy's.
It's too weird.
Yeah, it's unfettered.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like sometimes that's like the difference between the borderline, like, holy crap, David Lynch stuff, like Mulholland Drive, where I'm like, I love that. And then Inland Empire, where you're like, what was that? So, no, I don't think that I would. I'd be like, I doubt he'd be receptive, and I doubt I would ever find a place in my head where I could see imagining it and have it at all.
All right.
Well. Hell over.
He just stepped up like, all right.
Trapped on a desert island. Johnny's also there. You have 3 of your own characters to protect you. How long do you realize
Wait,
this is on your mind?
Johnny?
Yes.
Why is he after me?
Up to you.
I don't have any good protector characters. Yeah. Who's gonna protect me from Johnny? He's not like supernatural.
Gas.
Any more Johnnies?
I honestly could.
Johnny would protect you from Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny would protect me from Johnny.
All right.
Johnny would protect you from Zim.
He'd just be battling with himself, rolling on the sand.
You have such an original and very distinctive art style, so I was wondering what kind of, who influenced you for your art?
God, everyone. I mean, seriously, like,
Video games, lots
of video games, man. R-Type, Jetty, other artists, like,
I haven't heard that in
R-Type was the
See
best.
that, yeah.
Oh, man, I had a friend who had one of those Turbo Expresses, which were the portable turbo guys. Oh, I was so jealous because it was like just an arcade exact replica of. I remember it being like exactly like arcade, but it probably was Turbo 16. Box.
The phone is about to die.
But too many things to name. Like as a kid, things I can remember as a kid, where I would sit there and draw these things. Where like Giger's Alien, I would draw Giger's Alien when I was like 10. Garfield, everything, stuff that is just horrible that would just made me draw because I was like, I'm gonna do that. We have 5 minutes left, so everything in the world. That's my answer.
Another question about the comics. In Johnny, Hell and the Devil are sort of an allegorical thing for him, and then in Squee, you see Hell briefly, and it's fire, brimstone. And then
I don't remember.
In Pepito's house, it's in the basement.
Oh, okay.
And then there's just this brief moment in like the prologue stuff of I Feel Sick, where Debbie had that dream where she's talking to the devil.
There was supposed to be a lot more devil stuff in I Feel Sick, and that didn't quite make it. Yeah.
Okay, so I was just wondering, because it seems like the devil and hell kind of shift roles through all those series, and they're kind of interconnected. I didn't know if that was intentional, or just as you went along, you decided, I want to do this, or hey, why not this?
It's kind of vague, the idea of like I think it comes from a very sort of Catholic upbringing, just bringing in the devil and God and stuff, and then mixed with growing up and kind of going, that's crap. But I love devil and God stuff, mostly devil stuff. I just think it's funny. But in I Feel Sick and in Johnny the Devil is sort of. There's always characters who have some innate ability, creative people who are wasting their talent, in this case Johnny, who used to be able to make things, but now like he can draw stick figures, I love the idea of something taking advantage. Like, there's this theme of, if you're not using yourself, something will use you, It's the devil or whatever the fuck it is inside this wall, but it doesn't really have much more meaning than that. So it wasn't an entirely planned thing, but it's become more sort of an established thing now when I look back at this stuff. It's like what I would love to explore a little bit more with it. But back then I was kind of like, hey, the devil's cool. Hello.
This is my first question, so I'm going to make this moment about me for a second.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm wondering, you have a lot of work about aliens and you're really into science fiction. What I have not heard you speak about in interviews is zombies that I found. So I'm actually doing an ethnography project about zombies, and I'm wondering, are you into zombies?
Yeah, I love zombies. Okay. I love zombies. I don't know how else to answer that. I love zombies. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I love them so much that like I have a hard time going to sleep, so I always have to be like, I go to bed and I'm like, what am I going to do? There are like certain scenarios that I use in my head to relax. I find sniping zombies incredibly relaxing. So I imagine I'm in a tower. I imagine I'm in a tower, I have a night shift, and my job is to just pick off zombies. And so it's just kind of like, it's boring, crickets, and the occasional and I just imagine just sniping them. Sometimes it's like a particle movement, or it's like just a old-fashioned sniper. But I love that scenario, and I love it in video games. Like we used to play Left 4 Dead, and one of my favorite, like I kind of like got so sick of it, but one of my favorite things in the game,
but now say zombie mode came along.
When you no, that's what you're thinking of.
I'm saying Left 4 Dead was we.
Yes, especially. But in Left 4 Dead, there's that moment where you get to the church, and then before you move on, they give you a sniper, and they give you this moment of kind of like a breather.
You're up in that bedroom.
You're up in that bedroom, and you can just snipe. And nothing really comes up to get you. You're just kind of like, this is nice. And I always wanted just a mode that was just, it's like a zen. Those are always my favorite scenes in movies, where they're just up there and they're having fun.
Yeah.
Like in that Dawn of the Dead remake, it's just like, Jay Leno, Rosie O'Donnell.
I was going to ask, do you imagine when you're trying to fall asleep shooting zombies that they are people you know?
No. I don't think that would be not relaxing. I don't think I'd care. I'd be like, it's a zombie, it's not my friend. You know?
Not like that producer you made or...
God, no, that's not. But yeah, I like zombies.
We got like a minute. Okay,
Yes, we have a minute.
Out of all of your works, what character do you think you're most like?
Seriously, like they all come from. I have to be able to imagine being that person, even if they're like entirely unlike me, or if there's some aspect of me that I think is right, but I think is like irritating. It becomes something like a Wally or a Dig, where it's just. I can see being that person, but I can also see that person just being horrible to have to deal with. All of it, except for Rainbow.
Last question would be awesome.
All right. Am I saying or in one of the Zindy extras are you a tiny, small puppet version of yourself?
I think there's a puppet version of me.
Where did it come from?
Somebody made the puppet from the DVD company because I told them I didn't want it to be like on camera. So they brought a puppet, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
I was shouting at people, so I thought that it was from
Our time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm signing tomorrow. We will be signing and doing stuff at the Chicago Comics booth 1250. Thank you, everybody.